Hi, I'm Suzie. Welcome to Yin Yoga. This video will be separated into a couple different parts. In the first part, we'll talk about what Yin Yoga is. Then we will do a brief meditation. After that, we'll do some Yin postures or hold other postures like we would in Yin, and we'll end with a Shavasana practice. Just so you're aware, when we come to the end of the video, we will set up for Shavasana, the final resting posture, and then I will say goodbye to you and allow you to be in your own practice. So if you're concerned about falling asleep or being too restful, if you want to set an alarm for yourself, feel free. Otherwise, experiment and see what happens today. So what is Yin Yoga? If you are familiar with yoga in general, there are flow classes where the posture and the breath matches. You'll breathe in and out of postures, and there's a lot more movement to the pieces. When I teach a flow class, I teach a very gentle class. We sometimes call it the anti-flow because we'll tend to breathe into a posture and then hold it and then breathe out into another one, as opposed to moving in and out, which is what then got me interested in Yin. So if you're familiar with Yin Yoga, we hold postures with the assistance of props. And the intention of that is to allow the body to let go and release so you can then restore and relax. For example, it does a nice job of hydrating your connective tissues and elongating it. So be careful when you're playing with props today to not go too far or too deep too soon. If you're familiar with restorative, in restorative yoga, you would also use props and let go almost to about 100% and melt. In Yin, there's still a little effort. We go to about 80% if that's helpful to you. And then if you're familiar with Yoga Nidra, that is the guided meditation and rest where you just find one posture and hold it for the entire time. So that's a little bit of the background of the different types of yoga practices that are most common. For Yin Yoga, I simply invite you to experiment with it if you're new to it, and if you're a very practiced, seasoned yogi, to make it work for you. Yin Yoga is about props. So let's talk about what props we have today. I'm sitting on a bolster, so if you happen to have that for your own practice, feel free to grab one. If not, you can use pillows. I happen to have a lot of pillows off to the side that I'll be using and incorporating into the practice, being mindful that not everybody has access to that where they are. You'll notice that I'm on a blanket. That blanket is on a yoga mat. So in Yin, we like to use a thick mat or a mat with a blanket, something for some added cushioning. Extra blankets. You could also use towels, beach towels, bathroom towels, whatever you have. I have a eye pillow for the end of the practice. You could use a washcloth or a dish towel. I have blocks. You could also probably use books as long as they don't slide out. I have a book called Mudras for Awakening the Energy Body, written by Alison De Nicola. I'll be using that today as a reference with you. I have a couple items that make some sounds. So in Yin Yoga, when I guide you into a posture and you find what's comfortable for you and you hold it, you might hear me move off the screen or maybe see me out of the corner of your eye. That doesn't mean you have to move. That means I'm getting ready for your next step of the journey. I'll signal you that it'll be time to begin to unravel or release the posture with a couple sounds. It might be this. Ooh, hopefully it'll sound better. Let's try that again. It might be this. Or it might be this. I like this one better. If you hear that sound, that doesn't mean automatically come up and move right away. That just invites you to let you know that a transition is coming. I also use this glow ball as a timer, so it sounds like this. A little distracting possibly. When you hear it, allow it to give you an invitation to take a deep breath and go inward. That allows us to hold our time. We do hold these postures anywhere from 1 to 3 to 5 minutes. I believe today the maximum we'll do for something is 5. So just be mindful of that as well when you're setting yourself up. I have water. Please make sure that you have something as well. And then I have something that you can't see. I have a picture of someone who's important to me, and I'm using that as a focus object today. You are welcome during this practice, once you find the posture hold that works for you, to just close your eyes if you feel safe and comfortable, or to have something in your space that you can look at, but maybe just let watching the video go at that point. In Yin Yoga, there are 3 tenets that are important to remember. The first one is slow and steady. So when we talk about the posture, we get into it slow and steady. We don't rush to get into it. We use props and we find what works for us. And once we do, we know we found our sweet spot. The second tenet is once you have found the hold that you like and you're comfortable with, we commit to stillness, we commit to silence. That means holding it for the suggested time. That means being still and being quiet. The third tenet is knowing when to let go of the posture. So there's 2 reasons to let go. One is anything that ouches or hurts. Nothing should hurt, nothing should hurt, nothing should hurt. So if it does, let go and release. The other is if you're using props to make the posture more accessible to you, if you feel at some point you could get a little more melty, allow yourself to remove the prop. So I believe I've covered what Yin Yoga is, and I believe I covered what the 3 tenets are. Other than that, we'll get started right away. We'll begin with a brief meditation. And as I say that to you, if you started to get panicked, meditation in this space is not about becoming completely quiet and still in the mind. It's about being mindful. It's about being aware of what's happening in your mind, acknowledging it, releasing it, allowing it to come back, or just recognizing how you're feeling. So if you feel resistance to meditation because you don't feel that you can be quiet in your mind, that's okay. You're exactly where you're meant to be. When we move into our meditation, we'll go for 5 minutes. I highly advise you not watch me for 5 minutes because that would be pretty boring, but you do you. With regards to that meditation, there's many ways that you can do it. You can be seated like I am. You can lie down if that feels comfortable for you. If you are seated, you can think about where you'd like to put your hands. If you're looking to receive energy, you could sit with your palms up. If you're looking to ground down, you could put your palms down. There are a lot of other things that you do with your hands. You could bring them to your heart center if you would like, or you could try the Padma Mudra, which is for unconditional love, and that looks like this. Heel of hand together, pinky, thumb, and spread out the other fingers. Unconditional love, my heart is open. I selected the theme of love and heart and open this evening. There is a green wall behind me connected to the heart chakra. And the heart chakra is just that idea of loving yourself and sending love to others. So find what works for you. Find what makes you feel comfortable. And I'll guide you into our meditation. After a few directions, it will be quiet. If you are sitting, think about the idea of head over heart over hip. Don't worry so much about the alignment of shoulders over the hips. Just think head over heart over hips. Allow your shoulders to come up and release. Allow there to be space between your teeth. Take your tongue off the roof of your mouth. Maybe here, softening of the forehead, closing of the eyes, or looking lower, or gazing at a focus object of your choice. And an invitation to join me in a surrender breath. That's a deep breath in through your nose and a release through your mouth with a sigh, like this. Deep breath in, release. One more surrender breath in, and let go. Committing to the stillness and silence of your meditation. If there are any external noises distracting you, allow them to be an invitation to go deeper. attention to your breath, noticing the flow in and out. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose. Surrender your breath. One more deep breath in and release. Take a drink of water if you would like to, and allow yourself to elongate your legs if they were folded. If you chose to lay down for this, just allow yourself to come back into a seated posture. And we'll still do a brief warm-up. First things first, just notice your feet, notice how they're feeling, and elevate your left foot and circle your ankle. Circling your ankles once a day is a really good practice. And go the other way. Switch to the other leg, circle one way, and then the other. And then allow your legs to show up however you would like for them to be as we focus in this moment of elongating our body, making ourselves nice and tall. Taking a deep breath in, exhaling, and now integrating movement. Inhaling, face to sky, head goes back. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, face to sky. Exhale. exhale, chin to chest. Go as fast or as slow as you would like, integrating your movement with the flow of your own breath. And I invite you to meet me back at the middle. Inhale, make yourself nice and tall. Exhale, swing the head to the left, chin, nose toward the shoulder. And when you get to where it's comfortable for you, just hold your neck, not your breath. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale, head all the way the other way. Nose, chin toward the right shoulder. Holding the movement, not the breath. Simply checking in with yourself, noticing which side was easier. Which side felt a little more tender. Inhaling, returning back to center. Allow us to engage the movements of the spine. So inhale nice and tall. Exhale, slight tilt back. A micro movement, maybe bringing the hands behind you if that feels more comfortable. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale, release and curve in. Bringing yourself back to the center, allowing the left hand to come down to the floor, to your seat, bringing in a block or a pillow, whatever helps you bring the earth up to you. Allow that right arm to come up and point toward the sky. Inhale, make yourself nice and long, and exhale, lean over toward the left. I won't try to look like you, you don't try to look like me, just envision your own body. Maybe allow your elbow to tuck itself in a little bit, visualizing the shoulders lining up over one another. Invitation to turn your head to look one way if that feels comfortable for you. And then using your core strength, bringing yourself upright, preparing for the other side. Right hand comes down. Left hand up. Inhale. And exhale, other side. Tucking the elbow in. Envisioning lining up the shoulders. Bringing the head where it would like to be. Backing off of anything that feels uncomfortable. And release. Preparing for a very mild twist, not going all the way that you might in a flow, maybe to about 75% of your capacity. Starting on the left side, we'll try to get the center of our chest toward the knee. Inhale nice and tall. Exhale. Twisting to the opposite side. Going to the left. If you'd like to bring a little more into your twist, bring that right hand to the left knee. Maybe take that left hand behind your back. Maybe turn the head. Notice if you're slouching or if you're tall. Find a happy medium. Notice your breath. Unraveling back to the center. An intentional inhale to make yourself tall, crown of head toward the sky. And on your exhale, center of chest, come to the other side, toward the right knee. And I notice my hand automatically wanted to go over the deep in the stretch. Just start with the center of the chest toward the knee. If you'd like to deepen your practice, then bring in the hands into play. Find what's comfortable for you. How are you? How does that feel? Now in yoga class, everybody knows that their clothing needs to be readjusted. So this is where we all lift our gaze to the sky and we move whatever we need to move to feel comfortable. Okay. And for our first official yin posture, we're going to do butterfly. If you like to stay on a bolster or a pillow, feel free, or if you like to be more rooted into the earth, whatever you would like. Bottom line, when we look at the butterfly, the closer your heels are to the inside of your body, the harder you're working. The further out you put them, the less effort. We'll hold this for 2 minutes. So as we set this up, think about where you can hold in here for approximately 2 minutes without hurting yourself. Another option would be supports of props. So if you have blocks, you could put them on the outside to hold your knee, or to simply have a pinpoint of where you want them to be. Incorporating into the butterfly will also incorporate a fold. So the fold could very simply be allowing your body, your heart to lead and coming forward and then just holding yourself up. Or you could bring in bolsters, pillows, blocks, whatever you have to play, and fold yourself onto it to be held. So this is that moment where before we set time, you find what's comfortable for you without worrying about what is maximum effort or what other people might do or what looks right. For myself, I have low back pain. So instead of folding and rounding, I will ensure that when I fold forward, I keep my body straight. So I will be personally holding myself like this. So get comfortable, find your sweet spot. And when you do, commit to the stillness and commit to the silence. Here we go. Nice deep breath in through the nose. Surrender with a sigh. One more on your own. Using your core strength and being mindful of any props that are around you, press yourself upright. And let's bring the feet down to the earth, knees toward the sky. Maybe bracing your hands behind you or on the mat, And just do some gentle windshield wipers from side to side to loosen up anything that is tightened. Now, as you're watching this video, if you're just having snacks, I know I've done that so many times. I just want you to think about energetically the difference between doing this in isolation versus doing this in a studio or even with a family member. So I invite you to think about the type of energy that you like in your own yoga practice. What's it like for you when you're with other people? What's it like when you're by yourself? During what kind of a scenario do you allow yourself to go within and be more connected? And see if you can replicate that energy. All right. Now we're going to shift over to the wall for some fancy legs up the wall. You don't need anything at this point for a prop unless you decide that you would like to put a blanket under your shoulder blades to make yourself more comfortable. And if you do, allow it to be your whole torso. Try not to allow your body to get hyperextended. So if you choose to play with that, feel free. If you're new to legs up the wall, you want to shift yourself to as close to the wall as possible and then allow yourself to come onto your back. And then again, scoot, scoot, scoot until your tailbone, your sit bone is there. That requires some work and effort. Adjust your hair, adjust your clothing, adjust your jewelry, anything that might get in the way. And just first notice how you're feeling in this moment. And then allow your legs to be about hip width apart. And you need to determine what your own natural hip width apart is. For me, I like the idea of the block between the thighs, like becoming a human Pez dispenser. So find for yourself what's natural and what feels good. And allow your toes to flex in toward you. And as we prepare to hold this for just 1 minute, I invite you to take your arms out to a T, palms up, as space allows. Committing to stillness and silence. What are 3 words that you would use to describe yourself in this present moment? Legs up the wall is a great transitional posture to move from one part of your day to the next. Allow yourself at this point to open up to a V posture and then decide if you want your feet the way that they are in this video or if you want them turned out to the side. Find what's comfortable for you. And now let's take our arms and do something different with them. So decide if you would like your arms overhead elongated. Notice if that feels good. Or if you would like them down at your side. Find what works for you with your hands. Allow yourself to rest. Take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, commit to holding your posture for another minute. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. Allow there to be space between your teeth. And one more leg up the wall. Two options here. The first one is to come to about hip width apart again, bend the knees, put the feet on the wall, and press in with your feet. Notice how that feels on your pelvis and your low back. Or once again to bring in a butterfly. And if you're choosing to do the butterfly, allow your hands to come in and offer some resistance if that feels good to you. So, again, feet on the wall, knees bent. And if you're doing this, allow your arms to go somewhere else, maybe crossing over the chest. Or butterfly, perhaps using the hands for some resistance, or simply putting them on your belly. Finding what's comfortable for you. One final minute here. Deep breath in through your nose. Surrender the breath with a sigh. And bring your knees into your chest for a hug. Allow the hands to come either behind the thighs or below the knees, not on. Even here, as you're compressed a little bit, checking in with the quality of your breath. Noticing the quality of your mind. We'll stay on our backs, but now we'll just awkwardly make ourselves nice and long. So coming to lay on your back, nice and long, feet toward the wall. You don't necessarily need a prop for this unless you think once you're in this, you'd like to have a blanket folded up between your body and the mat. So let's see what happens. This is one of my favorite postures. It's called Banasana, and I just like it because it reminds me of a banana. Just for your noticing, if you are someone who is engaging in the practice and watching the video the whole time, once I get us into Banasana, and I set the time for you, I'm going to do exactly what I would do in the yoga studio, which is I would get out of the posture and I would watch people to see if they need anything. So once we start time, I'm going to get out of the posture so I can prepare myself to support you with our next movement. So here's how Banasana works. Take your lower body, specifically your feet and your ankles, and walk them out to the left of your mat or the left of your blanket to curve your body. And you may curve your body more or less than me. There's no one specific way to do it. And if this feels enough for you, stay here or bring your arms up overhead and curve that toward the left as well, picturing the banana. An option for your arms is to keep them where they are or clasp them at the wrist or elbow and maybe cross one ankle over the other. Play and see what works for you for your Banasana. Maybe bring in a blanket to guide and hold support. So find what works for you. And prepare to hold Banasana for 2 minutes, committing to your stillness and your silence. Now. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Surrender your breath through your mouth with a sigh. One more. Unravel your Banasana, your banana. Stay on your back. Make yourself nice and long. Feet straight, pointed toward the wall. Hands coming back to rest at your side. Notice the parts of your back that are connected to the mat. Notice where there's space. Allow yourself this moment of stillness, or bring your knees to your chest once more if that feels comfortable for you. And let's build our Banasana to the other side. Starting in a straight posture, walking your legs to the right corner of your mat or blanket, allowing the arms to cup over your head to the right side as well, curving like a banana. Crossing one ankle over the other if you would like, clasping the hands at the wrist or elbow, whatever feels comfortable for you. Bringing in a block as a bolster or a protector, whatever works, whatever feels good. Finding your version of your Banasana and committing once more to stillness and silence. Deep breath in through your nose. Surrender your breath with a sigh. One more. Begin to unravel your banana, your Banasana. Allow yourself to bring your knees to your chest for one more hug. Perhaps expanding those knees to your armpits. So instead of being toward the center of the chest, you're simply widening a little bit. Your choice. What do you need? Allow yourself to come onto your left side body, knees to chest, fetal posture. So on your side, tucking the knees in, using your hand, your arm to cradle your head. using your hands and your core strength, bringing yourself back up into a seated posture. And they would invite you to bring in, if comfortable for you, a bolster or a pillow, something to sit on to make yourself a little taller so that your hips are over your knees if possible, but it's not required. Let's windshield wiper out the ankles a little bit once you're here. And let's give our hands a break as well. Maybe circle them. Shrug the shoulders a little bit. And we'll set ourselves up for caterpillar. So for caterpillar, we want to have our legs about hip width apart, and we'll fold forward. And this is where having your props, pillows, blankets, whatever you have will come in handy. There are some people out there, I've met them and I've watched them with envy, that can use no props and just fold over, boop, flat like a pancake, and they can hold that forever. My hat's off to them. That is not me. If that's you, allow yourself to do what's comfortable. But build yourself a little tower of props, because our intention is to fold forward for approximately 3 minutes. So again, I'll go into that posture with you to set us up. And then once I sense that you're in yours, I'll release the posture so I can prepare to hold space for you. Props, twist, whatever you need to do to get yourself settled. And for 3 minutes, caterpillar with a forward fold. If a forward fold is uncomfortable for you, maybe bend the knees a little bit, or just allow yourself to be sitting upright and leaning forward. Find what's comfortable for you. If there are any sounds in your space causing a distraction, just an invitation to go deeper into your practice. Checking in on the quality of your breath. In your forward fold, noticing your heart center. Connecting with an idea of being of open heart, open mind, open love. Maybe here in this space, sending out some love to someone you're thinking of and wishing them well. fingers. Wiggle your toes. Deep breath in through the nose. And surrender your breath. One more. Being mindful of the props, bring yourself back to an upright, seated posture. And once you do, just notice if your head needs anything. And let's take a gentle twist toward the left. Noticing here how you are. What words might you use to describe yourself in this moment? Allow yourself a gentle twist to the right. Thanking you in this moment for inviting me into your space or accepting me into your space. Hope you found something from this practice on your mat that you can take off of your mat. Returning to the center and then deciding on what your final rest will be, Shavasana. So for your Shavasana, your final rest, you may choose something where you are doing the corpse pose, laying on your back. If you choose to lay on your back, you may want to put a blanket or a bolster under your knees. You may also want to cover up with a blanket, cover up your eyes, get all nice and cozy. You may choose a reclined posture where you prop up a pillow with a block and then lay reclined. You may even choose to do your Shavasana in the fetal posture on one side. I've been choosing to do my Shavasana like this, and it's what's been working for me. So you find what works for you. And as you get yourself settled, think about the quality of your mind, and then release any expectation. Think about the quality of your breath. Release any judgment. Notice how you feel in your body. Make any last minute adjustments to honor what you feel. Perhaps bringing one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. Staying in this as long as you would like to feel complete with your practice today. Namaste in its purest form means I bow to you. From the light inside me to the light inside you, keep your own candle lit and let your light shine. Namaste.